you everybody for showing up today. I appreciate it on a Saturday morning. We've got a lot to cover today. Hopefully, here's Jim. Thank you everybody for showing up. I really appreciate it. So this is the Assistant Registrar's training for polling locations. If you're doing your voting, doing other training for doing basically the same job, but using different processes. Hopefully you're in the right place. Just a brief overview before Stuart starts up here. A lot has changed in the environment since last year. There's about 1 million faces here, people who've done this for a long time. So I want to just quickly hit on some of the changes that have taken place. We've been redistricted, as we just described. Not only did some of the lines move, but we've added a district. We now have a D3 district. So where we used to have 13 districts, we now have 14 districts. And that's throwing a few things off. We also performed a canvass. We do that every year, so there's nothing unique about that. But it was a post-presidential year canvass, and it was a rather large canvass. I bring these two things up because there's probably a lot of folks that are going to show up at a polling location, been voting there for a long time, but actually need to go to a different polling location. There's probably a lot of folks that maybe got caught up in the canvass, and they may have been deactivated or maybe inactive. And as a result, those are the kinds of things that we're going to be doing over the course of the day on election day, is reactivating people. So I bring those two things up because they're going to impact us. We have new tabulators. The assistant registrars don't necessarily.
Now, right over here.
Yeah, there it is. We have new tabulators. While the assistant registrars are technically responsible for looking at the tabulators and configuring them, the assistant registrars are responsible for observing and assisting the moderators while they're opening the election, closing the election, and filling out their form. Because we have tabulators, we have ballots, and we have a brand new moderator return, because that format has changed. Again, this is the moderator's return, it's not necessarily the registrar's return, but since we're observing and assisting the filling out, we're going to go over a few steps just so you know what to expect and kind of how these things work. We have a new voter lookup interface. For those of you who are used to that sort of like orange and green lookup where you look up voters, that's changed. The new one does exactly the same thing, but it looks a little different. So I'm going to review that and how it looks a little bit different. And of course, you're probably all familiar with using a poll worker portal. I appreciate everyone who's logged on to it. It's really simplifying some of the staffing that we're doing and allows us to communicate with you a bit more. And finally, we're offering a FOIA opt-in, opt-out page, which you can sign up for over here. A brief overview of that. It is possible in the past, it has been possible in the past for FOIA, Freedom of Information law, or Freedom of Information Act, request to come to the registrar's office that says, I want to list all the poll workers, their home address, their email, and their cell phone number. To us, that seems like a horrible privacy breach. And conveniently, the state has agreed to that. So what they have passed is a law that said, if you request it, we can withhold your personal information. In order to request that, you have to sign the form over here if you want to do that. That way, if a FOIA request comes in and says, show me all of the poll workers, we will replace your personal information with City Hall and your phone number will cut. Okay? So that's a brief overview. I'm going to hand it over to Stuart now. Give us a brief overview here.
Of course, if you're real lonely at home and you want to be called up by people that want to get the names of all the poll workers that work for us for whatever reason, I mean, no, you could stay out. Nobody says you have to opt out.
No, that is Stuart.
I'm just saying, we get these requests, and we don't think they're for the best purpose look up to that system that goes on the computers in a while. Since it's changing, we're going to spend more time on that. That is madness. And it's the same concept. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Also, I don't think we're doing anything covering all the general political stuff here. That was most of the, we're nonpartisan for the day.
Yeah.
Got to get along with each other, even though this wouldn't be so much on the parties, second parties, but from November, we have two of you on each party. You got to get along with them for the day. It's only one day, whatever it is. Don't talk politics, don't talk religion. Meet somebody new that you might not see in your own social circles, whatever it might be. So, those things we've covered elsewhere. That is staying. In fact, your job is basically the same as before. So is the checkers and the ballot clerks, actually. Things that changed are mostly the new tabulators. But they work a lot better. And they don't fall apart. And they don't melt down in the heat. And there are about 3 generations of technology better than the ones we were working with, which was Stone Age at this point. So they are gone. Long goodbye. They come away. In fact, you get a new ballot box too, because they're here. You don't feel which one's ballot boxes are. So it does the same thing. You get a ballot, you stick it in, it reads it. The big difference is there's no write-in bin. Don't have write-ins in the primary anyway. If there's no write-in bin, it takes a picture of the ballot. So it gets a picture of what somebody wrote. It doesn't spit the ballot out. It doesn't eat the ballot, of course. It's just the evidence. I'll be picking that up off the tape and not off the ballots. There are other differences, but I'll just show you high view on that. And, at the polls you represent us. That's why we want you to be nonpartisan and all those things that we've already told you to treat the voters like you should. Because and you're the main help desk, essentially. You're trying to help them solve their problems. And we bring checkers, we get around, when you get to them, you got to make sure they send anybody with a problem to you, not out the door. The only other place they can send somebody that shows up would be to the correct line, taking the wrong line, and they knew what the other line was, because the person said. No, the Martin Luther King line is D, because it's Dr. Martin Luther King is the name of the street. That sort of thing. Now, so you're the help desk, but obviously with the moderators, to resolve some of the issues. But you're going to probably start with finding where this person wanted to vote that wasn't on the list, that wasn't found on the list. Where are they in the system? Just like you did before. Where were they registered? Maybe another place. They forgot to mention that they moved or wherever it might be. They might well be on the inactive list. They have one, you have one. So you find them there. There's a whole process for activating. Why are you on the inactive list? They haven't voted anymore. They sent a letter. They ignored the letter. Now, they're perfectly capable of voting still, and they're perfectly reactivate them, and they go back to their job and vote. Nothing wrong with any of that, but that's what happens. I mean, it's shocking that they turned up a good deal of them in the petitioning process. Not that many maybe, but enough. They're running around just finding people that have been active. They're counting. They're back active. We paid them that. That's the rules, obviously. Well, there's plenty more out there. Because why does this happen? Well, do you answer your phone all the time, or do you try to figure out which one you're relatives, instead of being somebody selling you whatever the hell happens to be common these days, solar panels, homeowner, and a whole bunch of similar kinds of things like that. Used to be performance-enhancing drugs was common on these phone calls and so forth. It kind of changes over time as they get bored with each other. So you do those things. That person worked for us, so we get to set the rules for you. That may be a little harsher than the voters. You can't really kick them out, but you're supposed to dress nicely for the day and not wear political clothing and stuff. For them, the rule is they just can't want a candidate to put a name on their insurance, essentially. But we don't want you to, look like you're in either party or have anything really political. Because you got to treat everybody equally. Fair enough. Yeah.
If they have a slogan associated with the candidate on their hat.
Well, the rule is just the name. Okay. So the example I always give is, okay, it's from the last election, obviously. The MAGA hat, or the Black Lives Matter t-shirt, or whatever it might be, those are okay because they don't have a candidate name. Right? Like Trump or Biden, those are candidate names, saying vocally, that kind of thing. So that's what the rule is about. Yes, there would be gray areas. We had somebody complaining about all that because he came dressed as Trump. I don't know. Tried to dress up to look exactly like Trump. Wasn't a Halloween costume. And then the McMahon ran here, and they sometimes get the people to come in as McMahon high school t-shirts. Too cute by half. But okay. Well, the rule is their name, and it actually says candidate. And we do train the moderators too, that look, there's hardly anybody else in the polls, they're just voting, not causing any trouble, just kind of moving them along. And get them out of there, it's easier than throwing them out, dumping them, changing the shirt, and come back. Discretion makes some sense. That's up to the moderator. These are rules, but I enforce them. It kind of depends on circumstances. Now, anybody who's trying to pester somebody about how they're going to vote or any of that kind of stuff, clearly they're disrupting the election and we have to deal with it. Otherwise, not up to it. You're going to be getting forms, people who don't have IDs. We cover this in training, but I'm sure you've seen some of those that don't have an ID on the list. And they have to fill out a form for that. Well, bring the forms back. Remember, we have things where you send stuff back to us. Bring that back.
Forms go in the blue bag.
Along with all your kind of stuff like that. We'd like to be able to get all of those. So we kind of get a better count on how many people do it. This is really going to be more of an issue in November than for this primary process. But you also in a primary especially, they get somebody come in. They are the independent party. It's a party. Ask the legislature why independent is a party. On TV, they're not. But TV is New York TV. Out here, it's a party. They can't change on election day to the Democratic Party. That's the primary. And it's too late for a Republican to change to a Democrat. So they can't do something like that at the polls. They can move still from one part of town to another, but you can't change the party at the polls. So you may be just issuing them a new voter registration. Oh, okay. You fill out the form, and then at least for the next time around, you'll be there whatever party you desire to be. So you'll be bringing them back. You're also doing that when they move from one part of town. They'll give you, if you're the right place to go, they'll have a new registration form. Completely, trying to make them put out their former address so we can find it.
So to clarify, the only people voting are
Democrats.
registered Democrats.
Yeah. You gotta be in the right district
And
where you live.
but those are the only voters that are independent
Yeah.
or
We're going to cover some scenarios.
Okay.
Suppose he asks It's a state law. It's actually a party rule. Both parties adopted that their primaries, it's called closed primaries.
Right.
You have to be a party member. You actually have to join the day before you vote. It's complicated. We'll cover all the details and stuff. The ID rules, whatever.
Yeah, we can cover that as well.
Okay. And you're assisting, you're helping. That's how we have it. The sign says helping us. You're trying to help. You can't maybe help everybody, but you're going to try to help. If you have problems with the software, or with the new software, it's really easy, but I'll get the hang of it, whatever it might be. You can still call us on the radio, and we can help you with that. It's not going to be a vast amount of voting, primary, so we'll have time for these kinds of things. And it's a good time to learn that kind of stuff. It'll also be a good time for you to learn how to use one of these things. The handicap voting machine, which will do a little bit of setting up. If you've used it once, it helps when you set up for somebody that does need it. Well, backing it up at the end is, yeah. Try to put it back in, try to stuff it all back in the case that it used to come in that everybody else uses. This is easy to that, but yes, that too is true. Okay. You're supposed to be conducting curbside voting.
We're going to cover that.
And you're going to cover that. We have a little bit of a new system because we're allowing them to, we're giving them a sign. Whether we get them out for this primary or not sure yet. But we will by November have a sign out there that a phone number they can call. So you can pull up in the car and call. It's a lot easier than trying to find somebody to come running in. So we're hoping something like that will work obviously on their cell phone. We'll see how that works. And we're going to be telling the campaigns that they can use the phone too, but only in an emergency. In other words, if there's an emergency out there, it's a way they can get to the moderator. You all have a cell phone, maybe the moderator's pocket, it probably ought to be where somebody can reach it. And two of you, different factions, if you are that, go out and get that. Again, it's the same procedure for curbside voting. And, what are you doing mostly while observing? What do you really observe? Not all that much. Maybe that the machine is working. Well, you're signing the tapes like before. Tapes got to be signed. Different ones will go on the wall than used to, but they still need to be signed first. But same idea. Morning is zero tape, evening results tape. And this primary has two candidates. Can't have any write-ins, one race, so the results are A, B, X votes, Y votes. Not a long tape. Not through in November, 20 different races, and so forth. A little bit on the redistricting, we didn't want them to do it, but they made some changes. They added a precinct to one really small one, which would be D3. People used to be in A4, the ones that voted in the back, Nathan Hale. They're now voting in front of Nathan Hale. New people are voting in the back. They're part of the first taxing district, which is why they have to be separate in each of those cases. The good part is, they kind of said, well, at least for this one, same ballot for everybody, we can kind of skinny down how many we had to have do it, because if we had a whole group of you handling only 50 or 60 voters and then D3 total, and some of them are going to vote early, it's going to be a long day. We're not really doing that. We're going to have a spare part or two available, and we'll have some tabulator. But it's going to be like a separate table. And one of our regular tables, we just turn around and man that table. We make it a separate table because their ballots are a different color stripe, not the whole thing, a different colored stripe. Not white. Put up with it.
Not really. Anyone here going to work with West Rocks? Okay. Yeah, if you're working at West Rocks, we'll have a little brief overview operational aspects of what an assistant registrar does. I've broken the training session into 3 parts. This is a list from the state of all of the items that an assistant registrar is responsible for. Stuff that's highlighted at the top is what we're responsible for before the polls open. The stuff in the middle is the stuff that we're responsible for while the polls are open. And the stuff at the very bottom is the stuff we're responsible for after the polls close. I'm just going to step through it that way so we can kind of walk through our day. So let's go ahead and get started with that. First thing, arrive by 5 o'clock. You're supposed to arrive no later than 5:15. Please arrive by 5 o'clock. There's a lot of stuff to do. You'll see how much stuff we have to do before the polls open at 6. Every minute counts in that hour. It seems like a lot of time, but it's not really. So please arrive by 5 o'clock. Don't be late. We're going to start by taking the oath. The moderator is going to issue us the oath like we always do. And then we're going to sign that we took the oath in the moderator's return. Just a heads up, that is not the same as signing a timesheet. If you want to get paid, you have to sign a different document. Different both. The moderator should have them both laid out on the table. When you sign that you took the oath, you're going to sign your timesheet as well as be checking.
Matt,
Yes.
excuse me.
Oh, yeah.
Did you have a day before setup?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so Monday morning, anybody who's available, please show up. You can show up after 9 o'clock at your polling location to help set up. I would really appreciate that. If you're able to do it, just email me. I'll put you on the schedule to make sure that you're scheduled for that. That would be great. I assume everybody here's got an email from me at some point. What? That is Labor Day. No, that's not Labor Day. That's early voting. Early voting. It's the, yeah, early voting is the 3rd. Good point. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's the 6th. The 8th. That's the 8th, Monday the 8th.
And if we're not available to do that, it's still going to get set up.
It'll get set up. Somebody's going to do set up. The more people can assist, the further ahead you are on Tuesday at 5 o'clock, when you're still trying to wake up and drink coffee. The techs generally set up the technology, but they don't know where to put the chains and they don't know how to do the flow, things like that. So, the more a checker can help set up, anyone who can show up. As you're probably all aware, we have site layouts in the blue cabinets. So if you don't know where to put stuff, you can go pull this site diagram now, and then you can figure out where the privacy booths go, and where each of the tables go, where the chains go, at least where we're intending it. Please try to stick to the site diagrams. A lot of thoughts of it. We'll probably put it at this. The location of the assistant registrar, the moderator has to have line of sight tabulator. So, I know in the past, some people say, well, we just want to be hidden in the corner. No, the registrar is a lot easier, so please try to stick to this. Yeah.
They want them to arrive at the schools by 9:30 so that all the kids can be in.
By 9:30. Okay, sorry. Thank you. Okay, so yeah,
On the
the setup day. Yeah, 9:30.
You gotta wait for the buses to clear the roads.
Thank you.
November, November election versus the school's not in session yet.
Right.
Okay. So the next thing you're going to do when you show up, you want to make absolutely sure that your technology is set up. The tech should have set it up. You're probably familiar that there's 2 laptops sitting there, and you've got a Zoom meeting running. It should all be set up. If it's not, we're going to log on to it and open Chrome. And if you look in the upper left-hand corner here, there's 3 links, right? One says AR Zoom Internal. If you click on that, the internet now, that's the problem. If you click on that, it'll open Zoom and get you on the Zoom meeting. Okay. Likewise, if you hit, I'm going to do this later anyway, so I'm sorry.
jump in for a second while he's doing this? A couple little differences. At Tracy and at Kendall, you only got half the gym. Now, Kendall done that before, it's the same entrance and everything. At Tracy, we're switching around to come in the back. The front, you ever been to Tracy? 11 steps up in the front.
Yep.
If you go around into the courtyard, there's no ramp, it's like 2 steps.
Yep.
For people that don't like steps. So, and there is a door on each side, actually, it's a little more on the front side. But that courtyard area in back, it'll be open, that's what the boarders are gonna be using to come in and go out, because we've got the back half of the gym. That's the wheelchair people don't have to get there through the front door, because that's the only wheelchair access.
Okay, so I've got the internet up. Sorry about that.
No, you're right.
Thank you, Stuart.
The others are all the same as far as we know.
So, yeah, there's 3 things you want to have up on the laptops. It's the Zoom meeting, the photo lookups, and Gmail, which is your link to your email. We're going to show why you might need that later. So if for some reason these things are not up, we know that we can open up our Chrome browser and we can click these 3 links up here on the top, and that's how we would connect. If there are any other problems, go ahead and call your tech, or there might be a tech available right on site. So we're going to check to make sure that Zoom is up. We're going to make sure the voter lookup is available. We'll get to that in the next module. This is what our voter lookup looks like. It's a little fancier. It's the same as it was before. It's different. And then we're going to connect to Gmail. Right, so those 3 tabs are going to be open on the left. They should be set up for you ahead of time.
I have a question.
Yes?
This may sound silly, but of course they say a question silly. Will there be a tech at each site on the day of election day?
There will probably not be a tech station at each site. There will be a tech assigned to you, and the moderator will know who that is. We put them in regions. We just don't have enough techs. The techs, go through the setup process. We work really hard to try to make sure everything is ready to go when you walk in the door. We know things happen, networks go down. So the moderator will know who to call. You can always call City Hall, and Tyler is, man on the job right there. If your Zoom is up and there's a problem, he's on Zoom. If Zoom is not up and you're having trouble, pick up the phone and call City Hall, call the tech. Or any of the techs. They're listed in the contact list as techs, not phones. So good question, though. Thank you.
And if you've got somebody, a relative or somebody that's real smart with tech, we can use a couple people up to have one tech in each place. That's our goal. We just don't have enough of them yet.
Okay. So now we're just going to quickly go over the IBS system.
I think part of your focus.
Yeah. I'm coming. It's the little switch.
Oh, that's So for those of you who wonder what the IBS system is, it's a state requirement. The IBS system is available before the polls open. It allows someone with a visual impairment, hearing impairment, etc., to take a standard issue ballot, use the computer to cast their votes, and then it prints their votes on the ballot. Okay. So again, we're in the setup phase, so I'm just going to show you how to set it up. We'll talk about using it in a minute. But setting it up is basically you open this, put the laptop on the top. This, of course, is not ready. So USB and power cables. Okay, we turn it on with a hidden button. And I say it's a hidden button, it's a hidden button.
Is it on the side?
It's on the side.
The hardest thing on any computer, where's the on button?
And it's really a hidden button. See that?
Yeah. You can rotate the
we're gonna take all of the equipment out, set it on the table. We're gonna take a little sign up, put that on the table. And we're going, can you see this?
Plug in.
And we're going to open the little tray. Okay? Open the little tray and put a blank piece of paper in the tray. And it's going to say, you want to print a startup report, we're going to hit print. Receiving data.
Oh,
And it's going to print a startup report. Yay! So we're going to sign this and hand it to the moderator. That's it.
Great. Stuff that comes back.
Right. There's a place in the moderator's return where they're going to expect to have this piece of paper and slide it in. So we just print it and slide it in. The key here is the startup time. Please make sure that's before 6 o'clock, before the polls open, because against state law, this system is up. So now back on the screen, we say, do we want to print another startup report? No. And we're going to authorize voting.
Actually, you're, I think you don't do that
until they use
until
it.
somebody shows up.
You can wait to do that. The passcode is written on the printer. It's a 4-number thing. You can type that in, and then we're good to go. It's set up. Okay? There it is. I'll show you.
9630.
I don't know if it's different.
The same forever. It's printed right out there. Printed product right on
But this is Registrar.
Okay. So any questions about the IBS machine? Has anyone here ever actually used an IBS machine? Okay, so some of you have. Great. Is there
The trick is-
any words of wisdom that we want to impart from the startup sequence?
First, the trick is, you know how printer you have at home, the paper goes in the tray and bottom? Not here. This goes in the slot. Okay. The paper in the bottom is there to provide a piece of paper so that you can get the report. Okay. The ballot goes to the auxiliary slot, basically. Everything prints through that when this thing is set up.
We're going to go through using it in a minute.
Yeah.
But so we're still in the pre-election, before the elections have been open phase. So. Okay. So
This
this,
first thing, we put the blank paper in, is before 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
yes. Right. Because we want to get that time stamp that says it is done before the poll. Okay, great. Any questions about that? Now we'll move on to the really fun stuff, which is the tabulator. Our new tabulator and the ballot box combination. Okay.
It's not a genuine.
Okay.
The younger ballot.
Okay. So a few tools of the trade here. First one is a pair of scissors. We're going to need scissors to break the tamper evidence seals. This is our new moderator's handbook, or sorry, moderator's return. We're going to start on page 1, which is different. It's got pictures of our tabulator and our ballot box and labels for where all of the tamper evidence seals are. We'll see how that plays out in just a minute. Obviously, we've got keys. All of the keys have been changed for the tabulators. In this case, there are 2 keys. One for the tabulator and one for the ballot box. And here's how I remember which one is which. See this key has like a black plastic on it?
Black ballot.
Right? You would think that would mean it would go to the black plastic ballot box, right? That would be nice, wouldn't it? It's not. It's the opposite. So the black plastic key does not go to the black plastic ballot box, it goes to the tabulator inside. Okay. Now, I'm going to kind of speed, last piece of information here. This is a banker's bag. The moderator will be issued a banker's bag to return items to City Hall. This is sort of new. Tamper-evident seals are going to go in here, broken tamper-evident seals, as well as the memory stick at the end of the night. We'll get to that when we get to the closing out the election. So these are all the sort of tools that you're going to need to observe and assist. I just want to stress that we're not responsible for actually doing this. It's the moderator's responsibility. I'm going to speed run through this section of it so that you're all aware of what's going on. It's really just enough for you to learn how this goes. Any questions real quick?
The previous setup over there, that we're responsible for that.
The idea is you are responsible.
That's our responsibility. This,
The laptop, right, if I would summarize what's going on here this morning is there's three pieces of technology. There's the laptop, you're responsible for making sure you're on Zoom. There's the IBS, you're responsible for making sure it's started up. And then you're going to observe the tabulator and assist them with that. Okay? So, here's how we start this thing up. There are 6 tamper-evident seals on the new system. There are 7 locks. Okay? Actually, let me back up real quick. Here's a few differences. Stuart mentioned it. One of the differences in the new system is that there's no write-in compartment. That's one of the differences in the system. The other difference is the tabulator is shipped in the ballot box. So if you've done this before, you know that in the past you have to take the tabulator out of the cabinet, you have to check the tamper-evident seals, you have to install it, make sure the breaker was out of the way. It's sort of a long run-out process. It's going to show up just like this. Okay, so all you have to do is open it and turn it on. Yeah, because it has tamper-evident seal points throughout it, we're sealing the entire box. So one of the other changes is you don't need to open the ballot box. In practice, the ballots go through there, they live in the ballot box, they'll be returned to City Hall in the ballot box. You don't have to take them out at the end of the night, you don't have to do any of that. Okay? The moderators will be trained on how to get in there and how to pull it out, such a jam or something like that. But, these are the types of changes that are really going to speed this process up. So while this may take a while right here in practice, there's a lot of efficiencies that we're going to experience on these tabloids. So I'm going to walk through the process of opening just so you guys can observe and assist. Okay. And I'm going to start with the moderator's return on page 1. You see there's some pictures of our tabulator in the ballot box, and each of the seal points, each of the 6 seal points are labeled. And then their numbers, I'm sorry, there's some numbers up here in front, but listed over here. These are the tamper-evident seal numbers that came from City Hall, that City Hall has confirmed are on this device. So we're going to start by opening our clamshell case. Please use scissors, by the way. If you're used to yanking these things off, you probably damage the ballot box. So we're going to break the tamper-evident seal, check it against the moderator's plug. When we checked it, I'm going to put it in the banker's bag. Okay? We're going to unlock the ballot box, the clamshell case. So thanks again. I hope that first module is good. The second module here that we're talking about today is what's happening during the actual election. It's a lot less technical setup and more actually assisting electors with issues that might arise. We're going to be filling out some forms. So checkbooks. And then we'll talk a little bit about curbside voting. Mentioned that there's some changes to the way people notify curbside voting, and then how to use the IDS system. So let's start with, let's get back to basics. What does it take to identify somebody when they walk in and want to cast a ballot? I'm going to refer to this as the right side. And if you are registered, you can use this type of identification, which is basically a social security card, a pre-printed form with your name, address, name, photo, or name and signature on it. Or you can fill out Form ED 681 if you have no identification.
That's the affidavit.
That's the affidavit saying I am the one testing. If you're
Make them
making,
fill it out in full. All sections. Otherwise, you can come in and they're just too lazy to go get their wallet or their purse out of the car. We want them to bring their ID.
if you are having someone fill out a voter registration form, or they have to comply with the HAVA requirements, meaning there's an asterisk next to the name in the checker book. It's
Which
this-
doesn't happen this year.
which doesn't happen this year, so we won't be seeing it. Thank you. It's this type of identification, right? So it's a photo identification that shows name and address, so that's all three things. Current utility bill, bank statement, government paycheck, government document that shows the name and address. There's no affidavit, you have to show it. So if you're changing your registration, or if it's the HOP requirement, which we won't have, then you need this type of requirement. Russell, it looks like he has a question.
Okay, we don't have to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, I'm going to throw something out there right now because I just want to get ahead of it. You may have heard something about an executive order being passed earlier in the year that would have affected how people identify themselves at the polls. The current state of that is that, I'm going to make sure I get this right, Stuart, make sure I get this right. That would only apply to state elections if it were enforced, which this is not. This is a municipal election, it's a primary, so that doesn't apply. And the latest guidance we've been given by our boss, the Secretary of the State, is to proceed with the Connecticut state law, which is what we have right here. Anything to add to that?
It's proving your citizenship. The problem is there's no national database you can look at. And it'll mostly be a registration requirement, like the HAVA ID. And, you know, if they had an easy place for us to look, we'd be happy to do it. The trouble is, you're not carrying something in your wallet that says you're a citizen, unless you get your passport card. I do.
So the short answer is, if someone were to ask you that question at the poll, you would say it doesn't apply to a municipal election. Which this is a municipal election. And then the Secretary of the State has given us guidance to proceed with the Connecticut law, and that's what this is.
Yeah. I don't know if they're gonna have some, like a national database where you can look them up. It's gotta be accurate. So it's a really, there's no place in the computer system where people register to put citizenship information. And yet, it's where they're a citizen. There's no way we can take down their ID, and like a passport number or a naturalization number or whatever they may have. So they gotta solve that first. But yes, only citizens can vote. There's substantial penalties if you're not one and you do vote. If there were an easy way to put that in the system, nothing wrong with the idea. It's trying to oppose it, but there's no way to look it up. Where the database is not really carefully checked out to be accurate. That's a problem, because a lot of people wouldn't be able to qualify one way or another. And even me, guess what? We have 50-some thousand voters. We're on 50-some thousand voter registration cards. And on the computer system, we wouldn't have any place to put the information currently. So to try to comply with the citizenship thing, it's a lot of infrastructure to do that first. Otherwise, it's not inherently.
I guess my question is, only because I did
Yeah.
SDR before, EDR,
Right.
is that different?
No, that's the same rules I'm doing. You get an asterisk if you basically, you got aspects when you mailed in your card, and you didn't put down your social security number, last four digits, or your driver's license number. That tend to be the ones that get one as not having shown proper ID. If you're registering on the same day of the election, which you can do in November, not a primary.
Not this time.
Not the primary, then you have to prove your identity. Can't or anything will do that because you can
Right.
old driver's license.
Right.
Who's who you are. But that you live in Norwalk, register on the last day.
If you were to register someone new, which we're not doing in this election, this would be the.
Okay.
And those things are, they're not proving your identity, the collaterals, the bank statements, that kind of stuff. That's what they prove you live in town. And, you know, if you got something, and even a statement of another voter or does. Otherwise, you're 18, what, you got a lease at your mama's house? I mean, you don't, right? And so, also, if they really want to do this right, they need to get all the IDs in the state that they can control, and the compliance, whatever the rules are, and they can signature, name and address, whatever. They could, they call school IDs at least one of these types. They call employee IDs. If you issue, they got to be, have a picture on it. As for the City Hall one, doesn't have my address, but does have name and picture. No signature.
Exactly, I could with this ID, check and vote because it's got my name and
Right.
picture on it, right?
What is your passport?
That's acceptable.
And other than driver's license, there could be a current valid photo ID that has name and address on it.
Yes.
Oh, sure.
Right. But it's getting the name and home address, so like your office.
Yeah, name and home address.
Name and home address, right, so.
And unfortunately,
Most people have a license.
Firearms permit, there are other types of state issues.
newer, they check newer, they make it put in a lot more now if you're a kid that just started to drive and stuff. But, you know, like, I moved here from Minnesota, I started driving at 15, because it was legal, and, you know, we took training, all that stuff, passed the test, all that kind of thing. But nobody even checked my, any of these ID things like they would do now. When we moved here, oh yeah, you know, that was 1980, you didn't have any of these requirements, and there's plenty of people on the list that would never have complied with any of the current stuff you have to provide. And so it's not a simple kind of thing at all.
Yeah.
Are we gonna have a reference sheet to show which areas or which polling places? Or does the moderator already know that?
Areas, you mean
When you go from one, you read the districts.
the district, oh yeah, okay, so you're
Yeah,
reading this right
I'm
now.
on the
Great,
computer.
Great.
Here's
So,
that.
great, so, right, there is a sheet that you can have your little cards, right? And let's walk through this. Okay, I'd like 6 scenarios that we're going to walk through real quick. We're going to say, hey, what happens, how do we handle this situation? So to Derek's point, scenario number 1, an elector shows up there at the wrong polling location. They're not going to know they're at the wrong polling location. They're going to show up, they're not going to be in the checkbook, they're going to get sent to the assistant registrar. We're going to use our voter lookup software, which we're going to see in a minute, to look them up. And we're going to realize, oh geez, I'm in West Rocks, they're supposed to be in Campbell, or whatever it is. Maybe they moved, maybe they got redistricted, we don't know why. Right, so what's the scenario we walk through? We're going to look them in voter lookup. We're going to contact City Hall or the other polling location just to confirm. The reason we do that is we want to make sure that we don't just send someone off and then they get to somewhere else and no, they're not on that list either or something else. So we absolutely want to confirm it. We have a Zoom call up with City Hall and the other locations. We can confirm it. We're going to send someone across town. We want to make sure we're sending the right place. Okay? We're going to give them a polling location card, which is what I think Derek's asking for. It's got a list of every address of every location so that we can send them to the right location. Okay? There are 14 districts and 12 buildings that we're using this time. D2 and D3 are in the same building. C2 and C3 are in the same building. So it's a little, I want to make sure we give them that card, maybe circle it so that they can get right to where they're going. Okay? And then we're going to send them to that other polling location. So once we've confirmed. So we don't want to, we've had too many cases where people get sent to City Hall and it's on a bank or Kendall. They get upset when we confirm that they scenario?
Well, I have a question.
Sure.
About the second bullet point. Somewhere along the way, maybe in the other training, we were told, don't use the Zoom to talk to other polling places. So are you suggesting that?
I'm suggesting you should call City Hall first.
Yeah.
And if for some reason you can't get in touch with them, you can call the other polling location because they'll look at the checkbook.
Right, okay.
Right? We've got some scenarios coming up where it's like, they're at the wrong load. Yeah, you can call them, you can call with a cell phone as well, right? We want to make sure that you've confirmed it, right? Because in practice, what's going to happen is it's going to be somebody whose address has changed, they've been made inactive, they haven't voted in a while, so they're going to have to go to the other polling location and then, re-register, it gets a little complicated.
Some of that problem was when, during a presidential election, if you have all people who transferred, and most of them haven't voted since the last presidential election, so there's more of them. If you all were calling back and forth with each other, you might have a system. And so we suggested you send it in the chat, who's coming, that sort of thing. Here, we can still do any of those things, of course. But probably there won't be enough on the line to cause that big of a problem.
Just another addition for those of you who are a little more tech savvy. Tyler, who's in charge of the fact that he's going to be running your Zoom meeting, if you have a conversation going with the registrar at another site, he can spool you off into like your own little breakout room. Okay, so if that conversation gets really busy, because remember, it's one big party line. You've got 15, 16, 18, 20 people on it. If everybody's going, hey, what do you want for lunch? Suddenly that's, kind of.
Aren't all the people have cell phones?
Yeah, they all have cell
So
phones.
they can also contact each other through their cell phone.
Yeah, yeah, you can use the cell phone.
Sign up Zoom.
Right, like, again, if you ask Tyler, hey, pull us off, this is going to take a while. Pull us off into a breakout room, he can do that, if you feel comfortable doing it. So it's an option, the cell phone works, so there's all kinds of options. If it's a quick question, yeah, you can just blurt it out.
And I haven't worked at a polling location, there's not a landline phone set up.
Okay, we have cell phones.
Because here we do the.
Yeah.
Habits,
Because they have cell phones. Moderators require that cell phone to talk at all times.
Got it.
Keys on them at all times. So
And we just observe that, we don't have a cell phone.
you don't have cell phone. You don't have the moderator has a cell phone. But Zoom is your communication thing. Tyler can set you up into those little breakout rooms.
Right.
If something occurs, you need to have a longer chat.
Right.
Oh, so-and-so might have moved from Bridgeport. Let's find out, Now you've got the registrar talking to two different locations. You can spool that off so it doesn't make that noise in that party.
So before we send anyone to a new location, we want to
Confirm it, please. Yeah. Because we've had too many cases where people say, oh, just send them to City Hall. And then they have the City Hall, like, oh, you're supposed to have education. So just confirm it. And confirm it with the registrars, confirm it with the deputies, confirm it with the other location. Just make sure that it's the right place to sign, especially since I would hope that people would look people's polling location up, because I know in a lot of cases, folks go, oh, you live on Ward Street, you're in A1, just go over to the library. Hold on a second, Ward Street got your district, did you know the library? Or just go to Jefferson. Jefferson's not in use this time. We're at the library. Right, so there are enough changes, so please take a look at the voter lookup to begin with and confirm it.
We're waiting, there's more parking problems, so we're using rope.
We're not relating anymore.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
road now.
Road.
So that's a change.
We got construction in the back of the parking lot.
There's a lot of changes, so please rely on the data. Okay, scenario number 2. Elector shows up, I'm not on the list. You look them up in the voter lookup, and they're there, but they're inactive. So what do we do? We're going to have the elector fill out a new voter registration card. It's possible nothing has changed, but we still want a new voter registration card as part of the process. See some nodding heads over there. Once they filled out that voter registration card, I would please make sure that you can read the voter registration card. electors' handwriting vary wildly throughout the environment. Walk them to the checker, and the checker will now draw the moderator, who has the inactive list? The moderator, the checker. The checker has, the assistant, so you have the inactive. Okay, so you're going to draw a red line through that elector on the inactive list to show that they would pull up the inactive list. We're going to go over to the checker station. We're going to have that checker write their name in the supplemental list in the back of the checker book, and then draw a green line through that elector to show that they're being issued a ballot. Okay? Please make sure when you write in the supplemental list that the voter ID is written in that column that says voter ID. If they're inactive, they have to have a voter ID. Okay? If they don't have a voter ID, that means it's a new registration, which you can't do during this election. So please write down the voter ID on the card and in the supplemental list. From our standpoint, and Lauren and Katie, and they said we're going to have to process all these in the back end. That voter ID is really important. Because if someone wrote down Vidya Ramakrishnan Prabhupada as a name, and it looks like Vidya Ramakrishnan, it's easier to look it up. Okay? Yeah, that was one of my professors.
And get their old address on there as well as their new one in the space for it. Same problem always, two Joe Smiths, so they understand the names. There might be another with the same name, we wouldn't know which one was transferring.
Okay, so that they're issued a ballot, just like normal, and then you draw a green line through their name in the supplemental list. Any questions about that scenario? Just forward. Okay. Next scenario. Someone shows up, the checker has flagged them because their name is on the list, but the address is different. Okay, so it turns out they can change their name, their address, so if they've gotten married, their name is changed, for example, or for some other reason they changed their name, their address is changed, they moved to that district or within the district, moved only within Norwalk, right? They moved within Norwalk. They're going to change their phone number, their gender, etc., and they're active, we can process that. So I'm going to just point out, this process is done in a polling location. If an elector moved from one polling location to another, they would have started at their old polling location. We probably would have gotten a call that says, hey, is this where somebody would vote if they lived at this address? We'll look it up. They'll be sent over to your location, and they'll fill out the card in the location where they will be registered. So they'll fill out the card. Okay? Just one other little point. No party changes on election day. Okay? So,
Not when they're voting, obviously.
right, you can't.
Obviously, if a Republican comes in or independent comes in, wants to be a Democrat, you can take the card, but you can't vote.
Right. Okay, so if you do take a card, but because you're not going to issue them a ballot, you're not going to write them on some memo, you can take the card. Do we just put a sticky note on it to say, hey, this is a new registration process when it comes back? How do you guys want to handle that?
That's fine.
Just
You can put
send-
a sticky note
you
on
can put it
there.
in as we
Yeah,
have special
say new
response.
registration, yeah.
It's a registration card.
Right.
Coming back. You've already checked their ID. It'll just get queued up for after the election. All right.
And it's much nicer, otherwise you gotta say, get the hell out of here and get
Yeah.
ready for you.
Right.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah, totally right.
I feel like
I can't say what you're
I feel like
Okay, so again, back to just, changes within Norwalk, right? So you move within Norwalk or something like that, and change the name, et cetera. We'll walk the elected to the checker, same thing, we're going to draw a green line through their name, right? Because they're on the active list in this scenario. So we're going to find their old names, we'll draw a line through it. We've taken the change paperwork. And just a reminder, all that change paperwork, all the registration cards, PD forms, go into a little blue bag that you should be issued
Yeah.
Yes.
We can copy of this presentation, so.
Yeah.
Move know, because.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
This kind of tells us exactly what to do.
Great.
But this is not as complete as that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll make it.
Okay.
Sure. The next scenario, this is a tough one. The elector's turned off, and they're listed as being off in the voter lookup system, or deleted, I think it says in the voter lookup. It says deleted in the voter lookup system, it says off in the CVRS. They can't register today, right? They can't cast the vote, they're off. Off is basically saying they are no longer registered in the city hall. Right, so they may be in the system, but they're off, they're no longer registered. Same thing, you can take a card, but you cannot issue them a ballot because they are off, there's nothing you can do to them. But you can register, you can take that card and process them to that.
And they're all set to vote.
And they're all set to vote.
Some.
Yeah,
And they're what?
they're set to vote in November.
Right. And the reason they feel is maybe it's because they're not responding to like cameras or something, or that
There's-
Well, yeah, if they were inactive long enough, they go off. Or they may have moved and been turned off because they moved to Bridgeport, now they moved back. You get re-registered.
There's a variety of reasons
Okay.
that can cause someone
Well, one
to
reason.
get turned off, right?
Okay.
So, but
Maybe
often
it's-
it's unregistered.
It's not us, we will figure it out if they're
Okay.
persisting.
Because people kind of want to know, you know,
Yeah.
sometimes they.
Call City Hall.
Yeah.
Call City Hall. City Hall is there to help all of us. This is not, call City Hall. Everybody in City Hall is here to help you, get this done right, to help elections, right?
Okay.
So it's not, this isn't a test where you have to do it on your own. Reach out, everybody's there to help. So, great. Next scenario. An elector wants to transfer from outside Norwalk. They moved to Norwalk last year, but the registration is still in Glastonbury. They've got their new ID, they've got their passport, they've got their driver's license, they've got everything. Can't do anything. Not today. So in November, it's a different situation, but today, the primary,
So this should be written, electors cannot register to vote on a primary election.
Oh, yeah, right.
Right?
to vote, yes, you are correct. Yes, to vote
But they can't.
on election day.
They can
They
vote.
they can fill out a form and they will be registered after the election. Yeah, you are correct. Do I know scenario? I am. Scenario 6, as Stuart mentions, this is not going to occur because it's a primary. Stuart has,
For this year, because it doesn't apply.
correct.
You can go through it, so it will. So they're gonna need, this is registered next year, I assume.
Right, so,
For
I
future.
would love to say this was left over from a previous presentation, but it's not because I just wrote this presentation, so. We'll skip over this, don't worry about what happened. Any questions about these scenarios, and like, can you think of a scenario where there's like a multiple that you want to go over real quick? Somebody's inactive, but they have to get sent to somewhere else, you have to change their address, does everybody understand like what that would look like basically? Yeah, they're gonna change their name while they're changing their address, because they got married, they moved across town, and, it's.
Change their gender.
It's possible, yeah, exactly. You need these things to happen. They moved across town, they changed their name, gender, got married. Yeah, the phone numbers changed a lot, is it pretty clear as to what the process is? Okay, great. Okay. Curbside voting, we'll get on to the next step. This is awesome. Curbside voting is where an assistant registrar will assist someone who cannot enter the phone location, but is requesting assistance. They want a ballot, they want to vote. As Stuart mentioned, there's something new that we're doing this year. We're going to post signs. I think we'll get them out to the primary. We're certainly going to do it during early voting and at like the library, where there's a sign that says, if you want curbside assistance voting, call this number. It's the moderator's cell phone. Right? So the moderator will see a phone number ring through. They'll know that you got to pick up everything with this phone number. Right? Hopefully it's not spam phone number, phone call. But somebody will say, hey, I want to do curbside. And they will then send assistant registrars or, a couple of different people out to process that curbside voting. So
It's two over.
it's 2 poll workers. So 2 poll workers will locate the elector requesting assistance. They're probably parked in front of the parking lot, maybe in the back. The poll workers will bring their ID back to the checker station and proceed to check them in as normal. Assuming that that everything works well like that, you'll check them in, you'll get a ballot, both poll workers bring the ballot to the electorate in the privacy folder, and a clipboard, with a pen, please remember a pen, so that they can fill it out, you wait for them to fill it out. If someone says, hey, this is great, can I just take this home and fill it out? What do we answer? No, they have to fill it out. It's basically a polling location, right? And yeah, people have asked that, especially during early voting. Once the ballot is completed, both poll workers bring the ballot back in and submit it to the tabulator, just as normal. What? I'm sorry, you had a question? Somebody had a question? No? Okay.
Stays in the privacy folder.
Stays in the privacy folder.
I got one thing. It's a ballpoint pen these days. The old marking pens can bleed through the thinner paper. They don't want them, just a regular old ballpoint pen. And we're going to have a bunch of them. What did we get, 500 of them?
We got 500 ballpoint pens.
I'll take them all home.
I've got to schedule someone to sit there. So,
You know, put them on a chain.
we put it on a chain. We're going to tie the hubcaps. No, hubcaps.
Walks out with
You can steal one from the waitress at the diner. Lots of ways to get a ballpoint pen.
Right. So yeah, that's a good point. The new calculators will accept like all kinds of red mark. Remember they didn't used to accept red marks, now they accept red. But they don't like the old ballot marking pen because it was happening. Someone would mark it and then they run over the calculator and put it in. It was still wet. It would smear on the bottom. But give it a couple of seconds, it actually works just fine.
probably not
We've tried different colors, we've tried your little dots and stuff like that, so we figured that out. Okay, any questions about this? You know, obviously, if you have to process a name change or something like that, you do that in accordance with the
Right.
yes, before.
And anyone can request this.
Anyone, my understanding is that anyone can request curbside voting, we don't question. Right.
Not supposed to, but they can, you know.
There's a lot of discussion amongst registrars about that. The current policy is anyone can request it.
Yeah.
It's uncommon at most polling locations, but some polling, the same way it's uncommon to use the IBS machine, but it happens enough that you got to do it. So, okay. So now, if we're good with those scenarios, we're just going to do a quick look at how to actually use the IBS system. Again, uncommon to use the IBS. Once you use the IBS system, it can't create an incorrect ballot. It will only create an acceptable ballot. Use it right. So that's been offered, and that's the that's been offered. So use it as a resource. It's there to help out. So now that we've got the IBS system up, let's assume it's up. I'm going to walk through it on the screen. I think some of you have used the IBS in the past, so if you have any tips and tricks or words of wisdom, please offer them up. Each IBS system is configured for all the districts. So the first thing you do is you have to pick the district that you're in. It has them listed by number, so you have to know that you're in A1 or A2 or A3.
Is the voter doing this?
You're starting this.
We're starting.
You're picking the district for.
We do that.
You do that.
Right. Okay.
Then you load a ballot into the tray. Where we put that piece of paper before, we're going to put their ballot. It's already been issued to them by the ballot clerk into that tray. It's face up, left side in. Okay, face up, left side in. It'll tell you to do this, by the way. It's really a good wizard. It'll tell you to put the ballot in, face up, left side in. So it'll tell you to do that. Okay. Put it in. And then it's going to walk you through like a little wizard. The wizard is basically going to ask you, what type of technology do you want to use in this IBS system? If someone is visually impaired, they might want a big button to make their choices for. Sorry, or hearing impaired. If someone is hearing impaired or visually impaired, they might want the headphones. There's a keypad in here for puffer. So if someone can't speak, they put this in their mouth and it'll say, puff twice for yes, puff once for no. These items, can all be used, and the system will walk you through the wizard. The system will walk you through the wizard to use it.
Is this set up during early?
Yes, it's set up right there.
I,
No one is here for that. I don't think anyone uses it.
and anyone can use it, right? So-
Anyone can use it.
I can remember one.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great resource to have.
But you could just use it like a pad too, right?
Well, this is where it asks you, do you want to use the touch screen or do you want to use the keyboard? Because depending on the person using it. And basically at this point, I'm going to say, it's a wizard. It'll walk you through getting set up. There's a point where it'll say, okay, we're ready to start voting. And that's where you can use the app off and let the elector do their job. So,
But you should keep your eye on them, in case they see if they're making progress.
Right. Yeah.
If they're not getting it, you may have to off this.
Right. So yeah, if you do have some time during this election, check it out. You can put a blank piece of paper in there and let it print out. It doesn't count towards anything. There's no counts for anything like that. It keeps. The ballot is the piece of information that's important. So it's when they put their accepted ballot through and we put it in tablet, that's what counts. It doesn't track. There's no report that it doesn't tabulate it. It just helps you print it out. And again, if they do mess up, they can spoil the ballot and all that.
And it doesn't even recognize if it's not, if it's just a piece of blank paper.
You can put it, as long as it's the right size paper.
Right.
And this is 8.5 by 11, so it's
Okay.
there's paper. Okay.
So if you put a blank piece of paper in it, just print dots.
It would print dots.
Yeah, just for
It would
stop.
just print, yeah.
So you see that it's done.
Yeah, you can see that, and you can hold it up to the. And I know it's in use, because we did an audit last year, right, in the park, where we saw the ballots that came and went through it, so that we know they are used. Right. Is that, right, the ballot goes to the tabulator.
Depends on their handicap. I mean, some of them could take their own, their own ballot.
Right.
What their ability is.
The system at the level they need the systems, don't be overbearing.
Right.
So that's the IDS machine in a nutshell. I encourage you all to try it out. If there's no other questions, we'll go on to the next thorough step here.
IBS is the name of the company.
I think it's integrated voting system.
Correct.
But I'm not. I believe it's integrated voting system.
It's an ABS system. IBS is what everybody happens to call it. It's the name of the company.
It is the name of the company, not the technology.
Accessible voting system. Every state has something
Right.
like this.
And
It's
it's
not
always
always
set up here.
It was set up here for the last 3 elections that you were sitting in. You were sitting, it was sitting over there set up with the paper being printed out. Yeah. Okay, so if there's no other questions about the IDS system, we'll move on to another sort of obscure thing that might probably will happen. So I'll give you background on why we have to go through this process. When we print the checkbooks, we print them on Monday at roughly noon. City Hall, and the Registrar's office, and Town Clerk's offices, still going to accept absentee ballots Monday afternoon and all day on Tuesday until the close of the polls. Which means that if you cast an absentee ballot before Monday at noon, you're marked as having voted in the checker book. But if we receive your absentee ballot after Monday at noon, you're not in the checker book. So how do we process absentee ballots if someone's in the checker book is still able to vote? Here's how we do it. At about 2 o'clock on election day, we come up with a list of all the absentee ballots that have been received since Monday at noon until 2 o'clock. And we're going to email you a list of electors that have cast an absentee ballot. Those ballots are being held in what we call quarantine until we hear back from the polling place. They're not going to get processed by the absentee ballot processing unit until the polling locations are confirmed that those people have not cast the ballot. Does this make kind of sense to everybody? I'm trying to keep it simple. Okay. So what we do is we go to our Gmail and we're going to send you an email with the list. And you're going to respond to that, and you're going to go to the checker book, right? And you're going to make sure that none of the people on that list have actually cast a ballot, right? If, in fact, they have not, you're going to mark them with a salmon-colored highlighter, which is the color for absentee ballots. People who have cast an absentee ballot. And then you're going to get back, and you're going to basically confirm that, in fact, they're if, go ahead. It's pink, I'm sorry. It's pink. It's pink. It's a hot pink. Okay, the way my computer prints it out, it looks like sand. It's not blue and it's not green. Okay, so, right, which is different. Okay, so, pink. The green is for people who voted in person. Blue is early voting, and pink is absentee ballot. But, right, there would be an A next to the name if they've actually.
And pink.
And it should be an A next to the, it's highlighted, but it would be an A next to the absentee ballot. E for early voting would be.
So does each site have its own email?
No, it's a shared email. Considering that, but yeah, for now it's a shared email. So you'll see 7 emails or 10 emails. In this election, it's probably not going to be a big deal.
Right.
There's not going to be a huge amount of ballots coming in between that time. In the state, in the presidential election, it was hundreds. And we were sending out emails to 10, 15 of these. And as you can imagine, you've all been through elections. You get this email, now I got to stop everything. It took a while to go get that list processed. However, by the time they were all processed, it really sped things up. They can't shut down till 8 o'clock at the minimum anyway. If they have to wait for all the checker votes to come back and then manually go through all of it, they're going to be until 2 o'clock in the morning. So this really helps. In practice, if there's 1 or 2, you might just get somebody in a Zoom call going, hey, can you check out happening at this address? Can you just make sure you have it? It might be that simple. But for now, we're going to stick to the email. Respond to the email, say, yes, this is the situation, they're all fine. And then please call absentee processing. They're in your phone, they're on Zoom. Please call and let them know to confirm that we can go through your particular ballots back.
If a voter comes in and wants to vote, but they already voted absentee, they're marked there, and then they can't cast another ballot.
There's a form for that. I swear they didn't vote.
Okay, but if they did vote, then they did do an absentee
Usually
ballot.
I remember.
Yeah, but if they did do an absentee ballot, they are not permitted to override that with a
They
ballot.
can withdraw it up till 10 a.m. on election day.
Okay, that's-
and a letter from the.
Right, so let's walk through that process. If someone cast an absentee ballot and it was received,
Yep.
and they're standing in front of you at 9 a.m. on election day, they say, no, I cast an absentee ballot, but I want to return it.
Yep.
You got to go to City Hall.
Right.
You have to have it removed, right? They're going to find it in the file, they're going to pluck it out.
Yeah.
They're going to give you a receipt, which you're then going to go back to the polling location where the checker's going to go, what is this? I need the moderator on board. The moderator's probably also going to go, what is this? And call City Hall, they're going to go, yeah, just shut up.
Got Got it.
After 10 o'clock, it's submitted and it's not,
Gotcha.
you should get
Cast
cast
your
your
ballot, but then revoke
right,
it.
it's not revocable. Revocable,
Well,
that's the word I was looking for. So, yeah.
Okay.
What's come up in the past is if I request an absentee ballot, at that moment when I have the ballot in my hands, I can still go and do,
Right,
go-
I haven't submitted the.
I haven't submitted
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
so I can still
that's
go
what I-
do an in-person ballot. And that's why we have to go through all this situation. If someone requests an absentee ballot, it's sitting on their desk, and they go, God, it's election, it's doing on the street. You know what I mean? It's still sitting on their desk. It's been issued, but they never returned it. So that's why we have to go through all
And
this.
the only ones that are within the hot pink are ones that have been returned.
But they've been returned.
That have been returned, not just issued. Issued isn't just getting returned. Yeah.
Okay, so that's, any other questions about, again, this is something that'll happen at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right.
It'll happen once. For this election, it won't be a lot of electors, but in the larger election,
So there'll be one email that'll come out and it'll say, Kendall.
this is for Kendall,
Right.
this is for Rivers, yeah, exactly. An email per one, unless you just get a phone call. Because it may be like 2 ballots.
Right.
You may just Zoom to you, and go, hey, can you check this one?
I think we would call each location.
Yeah, you would call them,
Yeah.
right? And then,
But all these ones separately.
yeah, can you check all the, and then you have to read all, you'd have to read all the names off, and that's forever. We can just run a report, send an email, and then you guys on the receiving side of that, if you're like getting swamped at 2 o'clock, because, I don't know, a bus showed up or something,
Yeah.
then you can kind of go out, wait, it's just easier to have.
Right. Yeah, because when we called them, they had to do it to confirm it with us.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And you could still do it that way, because
Yeah.
this just seems easier. Okay, so that's all the stuff we're gonna do during the election. Are there any questions? Actually, wow, this is spot on 11 o'clock almost. So we can take another 10-minute break, come back and do the closing of the polls and all of the things that happen at the closing of the polls. Everybody good?
Good.
Okay, we'll take another 10-minute break. Great, thank you.
Hey, Matt, can you put up that last slide again?
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're definitely sending us.
I will make this available. Tyler, where's Tyler?
Remember, you're still on a Zoom call with us, so
Yeah.
And we're still being.
you don't have to have this place otherwise. Yeah, once you get an idea what you're doing, get your head around it.
Oh, we're done?
Tyler, can we post things like PowerPoints?
Yeah, all right, you're right.
And what does the registrar actually do at the close of the poll? The assistant registrar. Roughly, we basically help the moderator observe and assist the moderator closing the poll. Okay? So, shutting down the IBS system is step one. We set the thing up, now we gotta shut it down, put it all back away in the box.
I thought you had something to look up.
Oh, did I skip over that?
Yeah, you did. You had a screen up, but you didn't actually use it.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, thank you for reminding me. I'm gonna come back to that.
No, I already worked on it.
Yes. Okay, so our voter lookup. Why is it not working?
And when you're getting ready, you all remember the one you've been seeing? Yeah. In color and all that. Yeah. Put in the name, put in the name, and you have to hit set filter. Right. Okay? Yeah. I never meant a damn thing. Here it's submit, which is better, okay? So that's what that said button. Yeah. Okay. That's the first one. But otherwise, first name, last name, street, that kind of stuff can be entered if you're looking at somebody else, okay? It's just And biggest thing, less is more.
Right.
Find somebody, you can find damn near anybody in this town. The first two letters of their last name, the first two letters of their first name, and the first two letters of their street. Yes, there are some, a lot of streets have the same name, and they're a common name, or a lot of people, so it doesn't always work. I believe you have the petitions, and that was enough to pick up on.
And we can do just birthday too.
Yeah.
Just birthday.
Just birth year and month. Okay, it doesn't know birthday. It's misleading that you can fill in something as birthday. The state does not export birthday. It only exports year and month for us as a reference. That's the privacy thing, right? So you can search by birth year and birth month. If you're looking at a driver's license.
If you really had to, though, we can help because we can get it off the state system.
Right, so yeah, if you do
So
need.
that's the difference with CDRS.
So yeah, I'll issue this for you as well. This is not the system of record. The CDRS is the system of record. So this data tends to lag by sometimes a couple hours, sometimes a couple of days. So if you're looking somebody up, let's say who registered the week before, there's a good chance they're in there. If you're trying to find out if they early voted or when we get to November, if they registered 2 days beforehand in the again, Zoom is your friend, I'm just going to call register.
No, that's not true.
Check it out. I would love to give you a live demo, except the city hasn't published it to the internet yet. So we'll get to that. So yeah, but this is basically what it looks like. When you do a search, it gives you all the results as a list below. You can see if they're active, inactive, deleted, so you can make all those decisions. You can click on the user's photo ID on the left, you can see a little more information about it. It's basically what you had before. Take 5 minutes, play with it, put yourself up, and you'll see that it's basically what you had before. It's faster. It's a lot faster.
And it works all the time, but the other one doesn't, because it's on a server, it doesn't work.
Except
Click on any of these, if you have a long list, it would alphabetize it. So if you hit street after you put just a few letters, you might get several different streets, just put them in numerical order and so forth. Same with names, if you have a list of them. It's really going to find the first two letters, because that's what you put in, the first three.
Right.
If you want to find somebody, and the name isn't quite right, you want to look at when they get their addresses. So you're using street, the others don't work. Why don't they work? Well, because we've got people that like to have different last names, because, well, they got divorced, they got married, they changed it, whatever it might be, they forgot which one they used, when they registered. Hispanics that often have two last names, they don't remember which way they did it. They got hyphenated last name. You got people that can't remember if their first name is the one they use all the time, or their real first name, which they didn't use because it's their middle name, like my wife. You got people, you think they know what their first name is, but oh no, they don't register that way. We had a governor like that. Anybody know Governor Jody Brill? I find her in J.O. Because her first is Allen Kennedy Brill. Okay? Every non-first name Mary now, they're probably registered that way, but they all use their old first name, but that's a middle name, you can't search for it. Another problem. Historically, what I always use, Julius Caesar. Did Julius is his first name? No. His first name is Gaius. Actually, Julius is his family, the Julian family. Everybody history knows this Julius Caesar. He's not on the list. He died a few years ago. But literally people forget that they have they use the first initial instead of their name. So, it happens. I had my chemistry professor in college. It was L. Willard something or other, I forget what it was. But he didn't like his real first name, which was Lorenzo, because we looked it up. And irritated college students being college students, but they don't use it, and then everybody knows them around town. The one that comes up around town is Jean Hill, if anybody knows who she is. That's not really her first first name, and something else, Wisconsin. They forget that they didn't register, they registered with the official. And then, what else can't you find if you put a lot of letters in? Any Greek, because there are two of them that will, in the same family, that spell their name the same. And even when they do, they can't write it, so we can figure out how they spell it the same. Because handwriting sucks, like yours. And mine, okay?
Oh, like mine? Okay, yeah.
Yours.
My handwriting sucks.
I mean, it just is what it is. And
The
so,
point to take away from this is if you can find the first couple letters, that'll get you close enough. What you can't do is search in the middle of a string. So like my wife's name in some cases is Davy-Lane. If you type in L-A-N, you'll find all the people whose last name start with it, L-A-N. But not where L-A-N is in the middle. There's no way to search in the middle. So, but other than that, Stuart's absolutely right. 2 letters of the street around, 2 letters in the first, 2 letters of the last name. You're going to get a small enough group of people.
it's not case sensitive, so just leave it on lowercase or uppercase and don't worry about it and take a few in there. And that's a good thing. It isn't either, we still have the problem of having to use your head about what names and so forth. If you're Irish, sometimes it ends up with old O'Connor without the apostrophe, sometimes with it. You might have to try both ways. These are all the things
Spaces between the C and the
Learn.
federal government, does that, or county?
Yeah, all these kinds of stuff.
Oh, and maybe space
Yeah,
counts.
C space.
Really?
Make
They put a
it.
space, they put a space in the.
Yeah.
What?
Because it's,
Yeah.
3 years ago, I would have said, that doesn't make any sense. Now that makes sense.
and you can't search with no C, with no space.
So, you gotta be kind of clever
Right,
and
right.
see these problems come up and remember about names. And look, when I was in Minnesota, we were using computers, obviously, it was a long time ago. When everybody there is named Olson, Svensson, Johnson, some other Swedish or Norwegian name, and it's Owen, and one of the nationalities, an EM from the other end. And if you spell it wrong, you wouldn't find it in full and all that. And it is just, oh well, you're gonna find every Olson in town, which is gonna be 3/4 of it. So it's ethnically related to the ethnicity in the town as well. People want to be able to have whatever the hell names they want to use and how they use it and change it legally. Your name is what you say it is, not what the government says it is. Some other government thinks they own the name. We don't like it.
They don't know.
You gotta figure out, find it.
They can put a space in there. Okay. So are there any other questions about the search features in the voter lookup? I think it's going to be pretty self-explanatory when we get there. I'm sorry I can't give you a live demo. It is so new, it's still like in diapers. It's really, really new. I'm not kidding you. Literally yesterday, Stuart and I kind of went, yeah, we can use this. So it's that new. But it's much faster, it's much easier, and the IT department can actually make it available.
Now, this one
But they
works.
just have it.
So we'll make changes to by November where you'll need it even more.
Yeah. Okay,
Small.
so real quick review, shutting down the IDS system. I'm just going to go over it real quickly. There's an option on the next screen, on the screen on the IDS that says shut down. You type the same password in, it'll shut down, and then you pack it up just like you found it inside the
Carefully,
cabinet.
beautifully, we know you're all good at it.
Right. And yeah, I think as somebody mentioned, the toughest part of this is getting this little thing around. In fact, that's actually the hardest part of it. So if there's no questions about that, I'll move on to the final, the most exciting part. No questions. The most exciting part, and I know you are going to love this, which is how to shut down the tabulator. Again, observing. We're observing. I will mention this again. If you are interested in a little more detail, we have these processes are all on our YouTube channel. So feel free to extract if you want to move through that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hey Tyler,
Yay.
do I have to turn the camera on?
Sure. Let me get over there. Hold on. My focus just went out for no reason.
So once again, I have my moderator's return, my pair of scissors, my set of keys, and my banker's bag. Okay, we're going to need all these things to close the election. He died. Okay, well, we'll move on with that. Can everyone see the screen kind of? Yeah. Kind of.
Video man, the internet.
So we'll stick to the basics of it. It's been running all day. We've got a bunch of ballots, and the ballot box. Again, we don't have to open the ballot box. All the ballots can live in there. They get shipped back to City Hall. We don't have to worry about that. All we want to do is shut the tabulator down and return the tamper evidence seals. Replace the ones that we've broken. There's a tamper evidence seal right here that we're going to look up in our moderator's return. This is S5. Okay, tamper evidence seal 5. So we're going to go ahead and break that. Okay, again, I hope that we can do this with scissors as opposed to try to yank it out and break things. And we're going to open up the front access compartment. This is called the front access compartment. This is the back access compartment. Okay. Can you get
You want to get in there?
Yeah.
Really in there?
There's 2 buttons in here. One is illuminated. It says power.
Yeah.
The other one is not illuminated. It says close poll. We want to close the poll. Okay? So, there you go. You can see it.
Close poll. Got it.
Close poll. Can you
Yeah.
see it right here?
Yes.
Right there. Okay. Push the close poll button, and when I let go, the screen's going to change.
You have chosen to close the poll. Right.
And we're going to surprise we're going to close the poll
Continue.
button.
Let's close the poll. So press it again.
I absolutely cannot stress enough. Please make sure that you're ready to close the poll when you're actually closing the poll. Make sure that there's not that one person in there that walked in at 7:59 and decided now is the time to start doing research on the candidates on my phone. And take out a home and all that stuff because you know that candidate. They are
Or spoil 3 ballots,
or they want to sit there and spoil 100 ballots.
which has happened before at 7:59.
So we want to make sure that we're really ready to close the poll. Everyone's been moved out, or the ballots have been cast. Okay. For example, one of the things you really have to make sure you do is take all the ballots out of the auxiliary system. And I'll say this to be clear: the state wants every ballot to go through the tabulator where possible. So the auxiliary bin needs to be opened up, and all the ballots need to go through the tabulator. Okay. Get some looks at that.
Why are the ballots on the auxiliary?
If let's say there was a problem, the line got really long, the tabulator had a meltdown, something happened, there might be some ballots in the auxiliary. We heard there was a paper jam, whatever event, we heard from some municipalities that people walk up, even though there's green arrows pointing to the opening, the tabulator attendant is going to say, please put the ballot in the green arrows, people put the ballot in the auxiliary. There could be some in the auxiliary, so check.
It's possible there's none.
It's possible there's none, absolutely, we hope, but it's possible. We just want to make sure that all the ballots make it through. Because if they don't make it through the tablet, it's going to throw your numbers up.
Right.
So we want to make sure all the ballots. The one exception to this is if a ballot has what's called an unreadable mark on it. We've tried to make unreadable marks, and it's really hard to put so little ink in a bubble that the tabulator can't read it. But it can be done. It's like 2 pinpoint dots worth of ink in the bubble, but it can do it. So once we've fed all the ballots through the tabulator, and all the people have left, and we're all good to go, we're going to hit close poll. And it's going to print out our case. It's gonna print out all 3 tapes. And here's the fun part. Remember I said there's no write-ins, there's no write-in spots? If there were write-ins in this election, like there probably will be in November, it's gonna print a picture of the actual writing on this page. So you'll know right off the bat, not only by the numbers, how many write-ins you have, but you'll be able to review them if you wanted to, if you needed to. When we get to the next step, you realize you don't even have to do it. You don't have to worry about write-ins. Okay? So we're going to take this paper and we're going to tear it off. And same as last time, we're going to cut it into 3 pieces. The first one's going to go on the door. The second one's going to go in the ballot box. And the third one with the write-ins, if it has write-ins, is going to go in the moderator's return.
Goes on the door at the end of the day.
Yeah. We post a 0 tape on the door, and then we post the final results on the door as well.
Because if you want to print it, stay there for options.
Right, if you need to print it.
If anybody wants results, comes in, takes the photos, and
Okay.
gets the results.
It stays the following day.
Okay. So let me show you. Let me show you what's happens next. Okay. So now I'm going to hit finish turn off. Okay. Now, right now the power light is lit up still. When I hit finish turn off, it's going to go through its little cycle of actually powering down. You have to wait for the light to turn off. It turns to red, and then it waits, and now it's turned off. The light is actually off.
The light on the button is on.
The light on the button is off.
Got it.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this memory stick out of the system, and I'm going to put it in my banker's bag.
We're observing this. The moderator.
The moderator is doing this. You're going to put it in the banker's bag. And they're, no, wait. And now we're going to go through the process of putting seals on everything that needs tamper-evident seals. We're going to put back all the tamper-evident seals that we took off of the tabulator ballot box. I'm going to lock this up and we're going to close it.
Oh, and by the way, we're getting some blue seals to go with red seals, so we don't have infinite supply. So we may be sending them out with blue ones. And so then, they better have all look red when they come back. Make sure you change them every, whatever needs to be changed.
So,
Different colors, so we'll do that.
and we're going to take this memory stick back to City Hall. Okay. On this memory stick is a picture of every ballot that was cast, and the timestamps when it was cast, and an assessment of the ballot is who voted for what candidate, what area, as well as whether it was an overvote or a blank ballot or what was going on. And not who voted, sorry, who was voting for. I'm sorry, not you don't. Good point. Thank you for correcting me. It's, you voted for mayor, this ballot, it has a unique number, and each ballot has a unique number in the system. So when the moderators get back, and this is not something you have to deal with with your system registrar, when the moderators get back, they will take this memory stick and put it into a central computer here at City Hall. Here at City Hall, with the head moderator, they're going to upload all that data.
Do we come to City Hall?
You don't have to.
Okay.
You do not. Okay.
You gotta sign all the things.
You got to sign a bunch of
You
stuff.
got your paperwork.
You're signing things in this book. Okay. But there's a few changes to the moderator's book that you probably should be aware of, if everybody pays attention real quick. Remember in the old days, you had to copy the tape into the book? You don't have to do that anymore. Just put the tape in here, right? The only thing you have to hand write in this moderator's return is if there's a ballot with unreadable marks. You have to hand count for some reason. And you have that one ballot that had something weird going on. But overvotes, blank ballots, anything of that nature, put it through the tabulator, put it through the tabulator. if there is some sort of an audit, if there's a recount, just look at a picture of the actual ballot and sort it out afterwards. You don't have to do that today, so this should take a lot less time. You still have to work with the moderator to make sure that the checker's numbers and the ballot clerk's numbers and the tape from the tabulator all line up. That's still a process. You get to spend more time doing that as opposed to sitting there transcribing a document. There's no value in that. The tape's in the back of this. So we go ahead and we apply all 6 seals, make sure all 6 seals are back on this. There's 7 lock point 6 seals. Thank you.
Yes, is the hidden
Could
seal.
take 3 off. In practice, those are the only 3 that probably have to come off. But we just broke the 4th one. And the one in the back, if you have to like clean the optics, you might get in there as well. So I'd say make sure all 6 are back. Okay, it's shipped with 6, we want to get 6 back. You guys are saving so much time by not having to transcribe stuff and do writing, putting the 6 back. There were some questions as to why we have so many seals. In the past, in the past and today, we're responsible for maintaining chain of custody of this unit. And the moment it's configured and tested, through shipping to the polling location, through the shipping process again, back to City Hall, and then we have to store it for 2 weeks. So we have to make sure that we have chain of custody of all of these systems, all 33 tabulators throughout the election. And that's why we need the 6 tamper evidence here. So it may seem like a lot, but it's...
So you have to put the little plastic thing back on it?
Yep. Yes. But,
That's what you want back
yes.
on.
And there's this, and you can look right here, there's the space where this is where the numbers from City Hall, and these are the numbers that are coming back. Right? And there's still a tamper evidence. So you have a spare tabulator. It'll be in the blue cabinet if you don't use it. But there's a spare tabulator. It's got tamper evidence seals on as well, as documented here. There's a tamper evidence seal on the blue cabinet. That's documented here as well. So again, these are things you use as assistant registrar will be observing. Will be observing. They're all in this document. And that's why we have pictures and diagrams to try and make it simple as opposed to just numbering. We're going to put a tamper evidence seal on that banker's bag that I was walking. Because that way, we print stories of people leaving the polling location and then stopping to get dinner, leaving things in their car. We want the tamper evidence seal on there so that way when the moderator shows up, they have a tamper evidence seal, they have their it has a modified. Okay, this is all for chain of custody. We're not going to be having less audits in the next few years. If anything, we'll be having more. So we're really setting up for those. Applying tamper evidence seals isn't really that big a deal. I think transcribing an entire election's worth of results from one page to another was a bit more cumbersome and overpowering. That's pretty much it. Are there any questions about shutting down the tabulator? Once you shut down the tabulator of the IDS system, you can just close the laptops that you've been using all day, just close them.
Could you break down what happens at the site?
Okay. So yeah, everything's got to go back in the blue cabinet.
Okay.
And there's a video on our YouTube channel as to how most of the stuff gets backed up into the blue cabinet. All of the laptops that you'll be using on your table get broken down, put into a yellow tech case. The yellow tech case goes in the tabulator, the UPS system behind the tabulators. Those have to go in a circuit on the blue cabinet, how you pack it out. Usually, like the ballot clerks and the checkers are sort of doing that, all the assistant registrars and the moderators are kind of checking numbers. Once the checker finishes the numbers, they hand it off to the moderator, and then, the demonstrators can kind of start packing chains and everything's got to get broken down. Everything goes in the blue cabinet. The privacy booths get broken down. This gets set aside.
That happened before we leave.
It happened before you leave.
Yeah, okay.
And then Monday, the moving company shows up and picks it up. I'm sorry, Wednesday. Wednesday, yeah, they pick it up, they bring it all back.
checkers and ballot clerk leave before registrars do? Is there like?
They can't leave until the moderators release them, because they have to check the numbers, right? So the checkers numbers, the ballot clerk's numbers, and the tag and the attendance numbers, all have to check in. Let's say, for example, someone forgot to empty out the auxiliary bin. Let's say you forgot, that's right, let's say it was 3,000, you're locked by 3,000, right? They're going to be searching, trying to figure that out.
Right.
Let's say that for some reason the ballot clerk, put something in the spoil ballots and it should have been back. They have to resolve that with them. But moderators have to resolve that with the ballot clerks and check those folks, make sure those numbers are compliant before they get back.
Once they're satisfied that
They release them.
they release it then, and then we're still probably there finishing up.
You still, we can observe and assist with the tamper evidence seals. You're not required to go back to City Hall.
Right.
It's just the moderators. Yeah. It's at how the moderator.
Okay. The moderator releases us.
Yeah.
Much clearer, observing.
One more thing, Warren points out that the state system cuts off online voting and stuff 22nd.
Yes, 11:59.
Saturday, whatever exactly it is. So people may think that they're registering that last week, but they did it online, but we never get it until after. After they're registering in person. So that could come up with somebody who thinks that they're going to, is that,
So the information here, we just have to, is incorrect, so we just have to.
this is one of the,
Right, that's the, you guys have, right,
there's a line in there that says they can
right.
online.
So it's September 8th, right, in person by September 8th. Well,
Let's do it.